Governor Romney's home state, we went out there with a positive, hopeful message. A message about jobs, a message about energy. And you know what? The people of Michigan across the board responded to that.
That's Rick Santorum talking about the vote he got in the Michigan primary earlier this week. And it turns out one of the conservatives we talk to on a regular basis say that Mitt Romney can't be the Republican candidate who runs against Obama, and in fact won't be. Joining us again this morning, John LeBoutelier. He's a former congressman from New York, now a conservative commentator and author. And John, you go so far as to say Romney is much diminished. He has a 2-to-1 negative rating among independents, and he is a weak political candidate. A lot of voters seem to like him. What are you thinking?
Well, first of all, he's defeating, when he's winning, even weaker candidates. I mean, Rick Santorum, frankly, has become a terrible candidate, and yet he's getting almost as many votes in these states, in some of the states, as Romney. You look at Michigan on Tuesday. Now, this is a state that Mitt Romney grew up in. His father was a famous governor there, Paul, George Romney. When I was growing up, man, George Romney, I'm here in New York. I remember reading about George Romney for years. He was head of one of the car companies, then he became the governor for 3 years, and then he went into Nixon's cabinet after running for president. So the Romney name in Michigan is, was, and will be a big deal. And for Mitt Romney to have to struggle and outspend by 2-to-1 Santorum and just win by 3%, that's not, I mean, it's a necessary victory, but it's not a great victory. But he staved off a disaster, so I'll give him credit for that. But he's still a weak candidate with a ways to go.
What about his easy victory in Arizona?
Well, it was really uncontested. I'm not surprised. Santorum put all his eggs in the Michigan basket. By the way, in Michigan, it probably will turn out, because they give delegates out according to who wins a congressional district. As of the day after, when they're still counting, it looks like Santorum may get more delegates out of Michigan than Romney, which just sounds crazy, even though Romney won. This is the system we've put in now. You get proportional delegates in some states based on who wins each congressional district.
Are the conservatives and the Republican Party still awaiting that ultra-conservative white knight?
Yes. And he doesn't have to be ultra-conservative. He has to be an ultra-white knight. Because the more they see Santorum, he doesn't measure up. The latest proof of that was a week ago in the debate in Mesa on CNN. He was, frankly, not up to it, Santorum, so he's not really the guy. And they don't like Romney. And by the way, the thing we ought to talk about, other than South Carolina, Paul, in every primary, including this week's in both Arizona and Michigan, Republican turnout this year is substantially down from 4 years ago, which is strange. And you would think, because we want to beat Obama, we should be all ginned up to get him out of office. The people don't like our candidates. Our voters, my fellow Republicans, don't like our field and are not voting. They're staying home, which is a bad predictor of what may happen in November.
Well, that begs the question, who are they waiting for? Can you put a name on it? Who might come out?
I can't give a name. I tell you, I think there's a likelihood if Romney looks within a month, let's say, that he is indeed going to be the Republican nominee, and the odds are, as of today, he probably will be. I think it's more likely that a third candidate will get into this race, a la Ross Perot 20 years ago. And if he's a better, saner version of that Perot, there's no telling how the guy could do. Because 20 years ago, Ross Perot was ahead of the first President Bush and Bill Clinton in June of 92. And then he went crazy and dropped out and got back in and said the CIA was bothering his daughter's wedding and all that kind of stuff.
Quick word on what's to come. Super Tuesday, and before that, the Washington caucus on Saturday. What's your expectation?
I don't have a feel for the Washington caucus, except Ron Paul's working it hard. We've got 3 other caucuses next week, Alaska, Idaho, North Dakota. So it wouldn't surprise me if Ron Paul wins a caucus somewhere. That I would look for. Next Tuesday, the biggest of all the states, the most crucial is Ohio, where Santorum is ahead of Romney. How much he's going to be ahead of him after this Michigan thing, we have to wait for another day for polling to be done. Ohio is the biggest thing next week. If Santorum wins Ohio over Romney, this race goes back into flux all over again.
Conservative pundit John LaBoutelie, his book, Harvard Hates America. John, always appreciate the visits. Thank you.
Thank you very much.